This conference will now be recorded.
So welcome everyone. So we'll be starting with mentor hours for Employee Central Payroll. So the primary focus of this entire today's session will be to understand the basics of EC Payroll. Then we will be moving towards what are the learning pathway. So what are the different topics we'll be covering. And so if you see the entire, before I start, I'll be giving a quick introduction about me. So actually this is Niladri Vihari Nayak, and I do have TOGAF 9 point, I'm TOGAF 9.1 certified enterprise architect. So at present I'm working as a success factor solution architect, but primarily I have a total 10 plus years of experience in including SAP HCM as well as success factors. Success factors, prior to success factors, I have worked 7 plus years into on-premise payroll since 2010. So then I used to work primarily on the payroll modules, Indian payroll, UK payroll, Canada, US, Australia. A couple of currently I'm focusing on the Middle East payroll. And in the on-premise, other than that, the basics of OMPA, those ESS, MSS, I know I have already worked on those areas. And when it comes to success factors, I have been certified into multiple modules, your EC payroll, EC onboarding, RCM, LMS. But primary focus is always on the LMS and your EC payroll because these are two modules primarily I focus on. Other than that, on the top of your consulting and advisory role, I work on a couple of things which is outside your SAP, like your currently Agile HR, your change management, your future of work, ONA, that is your organization network analysis, Qualtrics, a lot of things are there. But primary focus is has always been the EC payroll as well as your LMS. And this is just brief about me. And when it comes to research, so I published a research paper in your SAP HR payroll. That was my one of my MBA thesis. So right now also you can Google it like ResearchGate SAP HR payroll PDF. The number one result it will come in the PDF, the first one. This is in the ResearchGate. Will be directly. It is free of cost. You will be getting the entire report. It is actually it is not SAP EC payroll, rather the on-premise Indian payroll. So I have implemented that entire implementation and although also the effectiveness how SAP HR leading the market in the payroll area. So that publications it is already freely available that you can research it directly in the ResearchGate website. You'll be getting that. So that is a little bit about me, my research paper and all. So when it comes to the next comes to the EC payroll, we'll be having two categories of sessions. Okay, so first one will be your kind of a clinic session. So where exactly we'll be covering on the conceptual part of it. Okay, so all these clinic sessions targets your all of your conceptual part and the theoretical aspects of nitty-gritties of your entire EC payroll. And when it comes to there is another type of session which is it focus on the practical aspects of your EC payroll. That will be your lab session. So each session will be kind of two types of session. One is a clinic session and another is a lab session. Okay. So in today's clinic sessions, okay, what we'll be going to cover. So very basic things which we already know it, like what is an employee central payroll. Okay, so what are the different interfaces? Okay, that we'll be seeing. Okay, and when it comes to EC payroll, why we are using EC payroll? So many times the existing customers they may ask like why we should go for EC payroll rather we are happy with our on-premise payroll. That is a key question. Suppose if you like to if you're working in a pre-sales roles or because after you are already 10 plus years experience you may get an opportunity or to work on a pre-sales or BD business development activities. In those scenarios you have to convince your client why should you go for EC payroll. Okay, so the answer will be I'll be coming to that. What are the different aspects which you can explain, which you can convince your client, like saying these are different examples, these are the reasons. Say, boss, these are the reasons why we should go for EC payroll. Okay, so that we'll be seeing. Okay, anyway, on the top of your on-premise payroll, EC payroll actually it gives us proven technology, all of your latest innovations. So whatever the innovations happening, so SAP is investing more on the success factor side. So so accordingly, so your EC payroll is actually primary advantage of using EC payroll is all the innovations, whatever the innovations happening, the upcoming innovations is happening in your EC payroll itself. It is not your on-premise payroll. The it is almost stable for the last 30 plus years, and many of the customers are still using the same on-premise payroll engine. Okay, so this solution, your employee central payroll solution, it increases and from a UI point of view, or from a usability point of view, or from an automation point of view, you're simplifying the entire payroll end-to-end operations. Okay, so from that point of view, we should go for this EC payroll. There are many key points, selling points for this EC payroll, which you can give a pitch whenever you are talking to a customer. Okay, so this is just a simple definition of EC payroll. And like we do not, in the on-premise payroll, we never had an opportunity to see such kind of KPIs. So whatever the KPIs we can see in your EC payroll, like comparison of gross pay. So always in the on-premise payroll, what you used to do as a payroll administrator or as a payroll consultant, you have to download two reports. Okay, so like month of May, we are comparing with June 2020. So we have to download two reports again to do a VLOOKUP, or again do the see the comparison and the changes. But when you are using EC payroll, we have pre-built KPIs. There are different KPIs available. You can directly get the insights. Okay, directly get the insights from the payroll dashboard itself. What is the total employee statistics? How many people have joined in this organization for this month? So what is the total new hire, total then what, how many number of transfers? So all those total changes directly just with a single click will be finding in the payroll dashboard itself. So you do not have to run multiple reports or consolidate those Excel reports, and you have to see those. You do not have to do that. Okay, so those are the great advantages from your EC payroll point of view. These are a predefined KPIs available for this gross comparison, net comparison. Okay, so any kind of overtime, suppose you have integrated with your time management module. So how many number of overtime hours you can compare the last month to the current month. Okay, so that kind of comparison also you can do. Any kind of retro activities happening. Okay, so retro comparison, that can also, you can do it very easily without downloading any reports. Okay, and all of these are near real time. So all these changes, whatever you are getting updated in the employee central or the backdated data. Okay, so all those information you can pull out directly from the dashboard. So you don't have to visit any. Still you can those reports will be active in your on-premise. You can still download. You have an option to download those reports and do comparison. Okay, but when it comes to EC payroll, so these are some key advantages. The user interface, whatever the user interface for payroll control center. Okay, all of these things are very important for us. And when it comes to alert, okay, so there is something called in EC payroll, we have something called alert. Okay, so in the on-premise payroll, what used to happen, for any kind of issues, for any kind of, suppose there is a bank data is missing for an employee. Okay, so unless and until you run your report or running a payroll, if there's any validations, then only you'll be getting those errors, like saying input type 9 is missing, or some of the information is missing. So those kind of information you'll be getting. But when it comes to EC payroll, proactively you can create all these validations. Okay, so those validations you can create in before implementing. Okay, while implementing your EC payroll, you can create those validations, and those validations can be clubbed together. Okay, and those are called policies. Okay, so you can whenever you are running a payroll, let's say a simulation run. So here, this is a screenshot which says about pre-payroll. Pre-payroll is nothing but your simulation payroll run. Okay, so during a simulation payroll run itself, system will be capable of your identifying what are the data points, what are the data points missing. Okay, so in terms of alert, whatever the alert you are designing, depending upon that, system will identify these are the data points missing, and it will do an analysis. Okay, so this kind of facility was not there in your on-premise payroll. So even in the on-premise payroll, there is no cluster results generated for your simulation run or your pre-payroll run. Okay, it was not there. Only when you are doing a final run or the production payroll run, then only you can see those results in the cluster. Then you have to analyze. But in the simulation run, you can't do anything because there is no results. Those are table. Those results are not updated in the results table. Okay, so that is one of the key disadvantages in the on-premise payroll, which is eradicated in your EC payroll itself. Okay, so you can monitor those alert, monitor those analysts, all these comparison of this different okay, so pay components and all. So those are the key advantages whenever having your EC payroll. Same goes with your pay slip. You can download. Okay, so it was already there in the on-premise as well, but it is more easy to access in the same single SuccessFactor Android or your iOS app. You can see your pay slip, your pay summary. Okay, those details we can see. So these are all the key features. So I'm not going very detail about it. So you already know about these things. Okay. Any questions here, Bala, before we move ahead?
Nothing.
Okay, there's also still just an understanding. Primary thing is your UX. The user experience is simple and it is more consistent across all modules of SuccessFactors. Okay, whether it is a compensation module or you are using benefits or time. So, okay, it is consistent with your other modules of SuccessFactor. And the reducing the risk. Why you are saying reducing the risk? Because in the front end, in your whenever you are running the simulation run, at that point itself you can catch up those errors. Okay, so you do not have to wait till the month end payroll. Say 25th of month you are running the payroll, you should not wait for till that point. Rather, on the day one itself, suppose you are in the month of June, from the initial week itself you will be getting those issues like or alert like these many people have joined this organization, but those people's bank data is missing. Okay, or some important information is missing in those particular period. Okay, immediately at that point itself, your payroll administrator, he will be responsible for resolving those errors, or he will be assigning those error or assigning those alert to the team member, to his team member, so that your data accuracy will be maintained and your so data will be more consistent in nature across your process. Okay, so that is how some of the key features which are the selling points for your EC payroll. And when it comes to EC payroll localization, at present, SAP SuccessFactor EC payroll supports more than 40 plus countries. Okay, and every quarter or every 6 months now, these days 6 months, every 6 months, they keep on adding. So the last quarter they have given access to Egypt. So Egypt is also now on EC payroll, okay, in cloud. So there are 40 plus countries which are using this product. Okay, so from that angle, still you can, if your country is not covered, you have to always see your roadmap, SAP roadmap. Okay, if it is not there in the next say 1 year or 2 year, then still you can deploy your international payroll the way we do it for your on-premise payroll. Okay, so if the country is not covered under SAP scope, then always you can use the international payroll standard by using your Molga 99. Still you can utilize those as a SAP payroll. So these are some of the key features. Now I'll be coming to the straightforward the learning journey. So this is an official learning journey for your Employee Central payroll. So as you are already knowing this, like the basics of your hybrid landscapes, because EC payroll is an integrated module. Okay, so in EC payroll can be integrated, and so for that reason they call it a hybrid landscapes. Like you'll be using your on-premise as well as your cloud. Okay, because EC payroll is on your EHP7 or EHP8 version of ECC. Okay, so it is not yet in the S4 HANA, because S4 HANA at present it is not supported for EC payroll. So whenever you are doing any, suppose if you are in a project, whenever you are having EC payroll with S4 HANA, so you have to integrate both using your standard ALE, IDOC and all. So those things we'll be seeing in the upcoming sessions. Okay, from the time being, so the basics of EC you already know it, and on-premise SCM also you know it. MDF they are telling to, it's good to know, but it is not very much essential for understanding EC payroll. Okay, but when it comes to certification point of view, three core topics are important whenever for an EC payroll. That is your first one is your HR 812, which I have highlighted here. That is your EC payroll administration. So this part will be part of your first part A. Part B will be your P2P, means point-to-point integration between your EC and EC payroll. Okay, so that will be the most important one. That is from a technical point of view. Okay, and third one is your PCC, that is your payroll control center. Okay, so this is also part of your certification point of view, and also from an implementation point of view. These three are the most important section of your entire EC payroll learning journey. So SAP officially also tells from certification point of view, these three modules actually you have to go through. And out of these three modules, most easiest one is the first one. That is all the admin activities for EC payroll. Okay, that is the most easier one to understand.
1 minute. Sorry for
Yeah,
interruption.
no
These
problem.
are available in the. These are they available in the Learning Hub still?
Yes, yes, yes. Actually, I have taken it from the certification hub, means your official learning hub site only. So just I
Yeah.
segregated into
Yesterday
multiple
also I
sites.
tried. Yesterday also I tried. It is not showing like this. SAP SuccessFactors Employee Central Payroll Administration.
Hmm.
It's not showing. That's what I
No, no,
getting
no. So
confused.
what you can do, so rather instead of searching these things, so you can search by ECP integration. So actually it is an integrated module. So you can search by integrated module. Or otherwise, what you can do, you just start typing by using this code. Okay, HR812. That is for your EC payroll administration, and
Which one?
HR812. I will just come to that. Okay, so this is the your HR812. You start typing HR812. It will say SAP SuccessFactors EC payroll administration. Okay, so that is your part A. Okay,
H, next one HR.
first one is your HR812. Second code is I'm just typing as well so that you will be remembering. First one is HR812. That is the part
Okay.
A. Part A. Part A is your HR812. Second is your part B. That is your HRH60. HRH60. That is your success factor integration with employee central payroll. So that is the most critical one. This module is critical one from a
Okay.
technical point of view. And third part is your payroll control center, which is a very completely new concept when it comes to the EC payroll. It was not there in your on-premise. Okay, so HRH65. So these are the three code. If you start searching by these three code and you choose the latest one, that is a 2005. I think it is not there. So I think at least the latest will be your 1911, means November edition. You'll be getting there. But anyway, for current certification, you'll be getting through those questions on those topics only. Okay, and maybe after this.
Once I log in the Learning Hub access,
Hmm.
Learning Hub, I just go to content, right? That content
Yes,
where
yes,
I have to
content.
search.
Learning content. So there will be learning content. There will be learning. Your different groups will be also there. Okay. So you have to go to the learning content and you start typing HR812. Then you will be getting all these topics.
Okay.
Okay. You just note it. And if you're having facing any problem, then we will discuss in the next session.
Yeah, sure.
So these are three topics. So from a certification point of view, as well as from an implementation point of view, these are the important one. Okay. So I have just broken into different components. So whatever the three component I told you, part A HR812, part B HRH60, part C HRH65. So I have just broken the topics. So what are the topics are there? And I just small changes I have also done it here from implementation point of view as well. Okay. So part A is, as I was mentioning, it is an easier one. So part A will be actually end user activity. So as a payroll administrator, what are the things you will be able to do? Okay, as a payroll process manager, what are the activities you can do, that we'll be seeing there. And basics of the part C, that is the payroll control center, PCC. Basics of basic understanding what is the payroll control center, that we'll be seeing there in the part A. Okay, and other than that, some basic stuff like that is very easy for you because you have background of your employee central. Okay, so how to hire an employee, how to update the employees payroll related data, compensation related data, those things are also there. And there are certain RBP access, so how to do the initial setup of configuration, how to set up those RBP for a payroll process manager or payroll process administrator, that we'll be seeing in the part A. Part A is most easiest one, and you'll be getting 4 to 5 questions out of 80 questions, 4 to 5 questions from this part A. Okay, so when it comes to part B is little technical. So all the steps. So as it is the EC and EC payroll are integrated module. So to make this integration successful, there are certain activities. There are 15 plus activities to be done in the employee central side, and there are certain activities to be done on the employee central payroll side. Okay, so those steps will be going into detail. The step by step will go there. Okay, and other than that, there are certain configuring the point-to-point replication. There are certain configurations to be done, and certain monitoring tools. There are some if you're facing any challenges while configuring this or on a day-to-day operations. So what are the steps required to set up those to monitor those data, because every day you'll be having data coming from your Employee Central to Employee Central payroll. Okay, and similarly from S4 HANA Finance, the cost center will be going to the EC payroll. Okay, so how to monitor those data, whether the data has been operated successfully or not. Okay, so we will be seeing in details. Okay, what are the different data monitoring tools. Okay, and also there are some troubleshooting tools are available. So how to go through those troubleshooting tools, how to do an analysis of those data point, if anything is missing. So all those details will be covered in the part B. Okay. Other than that, in part B also we will cover like there are some integrated module with your third-party integration, like your Kronos for time management. If the client is not using your on-premise, your time and attendance management by EC or time of module from EC, suppose they are using say Kronos or Workforce Central. Okay, so how to integrate those things, those architecture, those detailed process, we'll be seeing there in the those integrated module in the part B itself. Other than that, if you're working for a US payroll, so there is a concept of BSI there. Okay, so that things also we will be seeing in the part B. Other than that, just have a question, Bala. Do you have any experience on your any country specific payroll, or you are work only for Indian payroll, or how is your
Yeah,
experience on
worked as Indian payroll only.
Indian payroll only, right? Okay, okay. Then there is
Yeah.
no problem, because US payroll is more complex. Like you have a concept of BSI there, because those things are there. But for Indian payroll, nothing is different. So it's a standard payroll system. Nothing much extra additional things to be done in the EC payroll side. Okay, on the standardization is there. So nothing much. So these are different sections. We'll be covering the part B. In part C, we'll be focusing on the payroll control center, which is the innovations, primary innovation from an EC payroll point of view. So in payroll control center, actually it's a very wonderful tool, which is a nice interface in the front end, where exactly your payroll administrator will be able to execute, able to monitor those errors, alert and all. And from an operational angle, your payroll process manager, he will be running the payroll. He will be monitoring the health checkup of your entire payroll activities for the entire month. Okay, those activities we can see in the payroll control center in an intuitive manner. So the entire single dashboard you'll be having, you do not have to change the control record the way we do it in the on-premise payroll. You do not have to do those lot of mundane manual activities. So you do not have to do that. It can be completely automated in the front end by using the concept of payroll control center. And when it comes to payroll control center, those detailed configuration will be seeing in the part C. In part A, we'll be seeing the glimpse of the payroll control center. The front end part we'll be seeing. And in the part C, it is completely dedicated for your payroll control center backend configuration. So what are the backend configuration? What are the different integrations, roles, authorizations, tools? All those things will be in detail we'll see. And when it comes to certification, around 40 questions comes from here, approximately
Yeah,
35.
yeah, I have one doubt. Sorry for interruption.
Yeah.
In SAP system, we have to configure like in a specific country, right? In SM system, like for India, for payroll control, so that do we maintain the country things like country grouping like this?
Okay, so you've asked a very valid question. So appreciate that. So what is the thing is the payroll control center is not a very much country specific. Okay, so like there is something called payroll unified configuration that I will show you in the demo. Okay, once I go to the lab, okay, lab session, I'll show that anyway. In next 15 minutes, I will show that. So whenever if you go to the different node in the payroll, international payroll itself, you will be seeing the payroll control center. Okay, and from that you will be configuring everything from a payroll control center. Even if you are implementing, say for US, for India, for any other country, if you are implementing, still the configuration node for of your entire payroll control center will be always under your payroll international. Okay, so it will always under your payroll international. But how to segregate? Suppose if you are working for only 4 different countries, say India, US, Canada, and Australia. Okay, and for those pay only country only, you would like to activate the payroll control center. So there is another way of doing that I will show you where to do that. Okay, that is controlled via your payroll unified configuration. Okay, so I will show that. Does that answer your query, Bala?
Nothing.
Okay. So you have
So,
access.
as you
Yeah.
said, the payroll control center as a international, we have to set international payroll. Then only we can run the payroll in the payroll control center itself. There is
So
no
it's
specific country specific like this.
no, there is no country specific. But having said that, always you have to configure everything from the payroll international. In the payroll international node only, whatever the access you are having in the payroll control center, in those only you have to configure. So we'll be seeing those details in the part C whenever we'll be covering the part C. Okay. So there we'll be seeing how to configure those roles, how to configure those integrations, authorization. It's a very long configuration. So we'll be seeing there what are there are different many terminologies across. So those details we'll be
But
seeing.
but in ECP system, we have to configure the country grouping, right?
Yes, yes. So whenever those on-premise configuration will be still there, right? So whenever you are implementing EC payroll, so your on-premise schema or your whatever the configuration you are doing for those country grouping, assignment of those base types to info types. So on-premise configuration anyway you are doing. So you are not get free from those configurations. So those configurations must be there. Okay, the country grouping assignment, everything. Okay, even the copying the country's specific schema. Okay, so all these things will happen as it is. So there is no change in that. The activities which we have learned during your on-premise payroll, that will be as it is. Okay, so there will be no change on that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So in the part C, as I was mentioning, we'll be focusing more on the payroll control center part. And other than that, towards the end, we'll be having some case studies. So what are the different case studies or country specific case study? And towards the end, we'll be having what is in future of the payroll. So what are the things are going to be, what are the extra things can be done? Okay. So these days people are integrating your different RPA tool, your robotic process automation or any chatbot they are implementing with either integrating with your EC or EC payroll. Okay. Suppose you are chatting with a chatbot, it will ask you, suppose you don't want to go to inside the website and download a payslip. Rather, with a chat, you can download your payslip. Okay. So those things are, so what are the different innovations happening in the payroll? That is not, that section number 20 is not in your certification or in the scope, but that is from an experience point of view. I'm just sharing my experience, my future, what are the different activities I have done in the other projects that I'll be sharing with you. And any workbook related walkthrough also will be seeing towards the end. Okay. And we'll be having some assessment as well for each and every section. We'll be having some kind of assessment. So just to enforce, to align your learning, whatever you have done. Okay. So other than that, so when it comes to certification point of view, this is a breakup. Though in the certification in the module itself, you'll be getting, you can see the top two, like your section 1, section 2, your these are actually the P2P related topic, EC configuration to EC time of configuration. Similarly, the topic number 6 to 11. So these are all the payroll control center type. Okay, so we'll be expecting more than 35 to 50 questions in payroll control center. Around 5 questions from the part A, and remaining question will be coming from your this integration topic, EC payroll to SAP financial integration, Kronos integration, your time and attendance management integrations. So all these topics, this is how the breakup look like. And at present, the cutoff is for EC payroll certification is 51%. Okay, so if you are lucky, more than answering 41 questions, then you are certified. Okay, in EC payroll. So as it is a complex one, so for that reason the cutoff is relatively lower compared to other modules of success factor. I have seen, because I've been certified in compensation as well. Compensation was, it was 55%, and for EC payroll it is a 51% the cutoff. Okay. So these are the different topics which you will be also covering under your ECP. Just to summarize, suppose somebody asks what is an EC payroll, the simple fundamental equation. So this is the equation of your EC payroll. It is a combination of your EC plus your SCM payroll on cloud, that is ECC, plus PCC, that is a payroll control center. Okay, so EC payroll, to implement EC payroll, it is mandatory to have your employee central. Without employee central, you can't implement EC payroll, at least at present. Okay, so the second one is ECC. So you must have the configuration knowledge of your on-premise ECC, how to create a waste type, how to assign those grouping of different employee subgroup grouping and all. So there are different features in the EC payroll, on-premise payroll. Okay, those ECC knowledge also it will be going to be used in your EC payroll. Okay, So still you have to configure those actions, action reason, even if you have configured event and event reason in EC. Okay, so same configuration to be done in the on-premise side as well, to just have a mini master, HR mini master that will be seen in
Yeah.
the. Hmm,
Sorry
okay,
for interruption. Sorry
no
for
problem.
interruption.
Tell me.
Whatever we configure the company legal entity
Hmm.
configuration, we have to do the same in the ECC system also.
Exactly. So same. So in your ECC system means actually it is your EC payroll web edition, web GUI, web graphical
Yeah.
user interface. Okay, that configuration still you have to do. And suppose if you are integrating with your on-premise S4 HANA or your cloud S4 HANA, and there also you have to again configure. So again, it's a double activity. I understand. So, but still, because if you are integrating with your on, say S4 HANA, still that HR mini master you have to set up both in your ECC, that is your EC payroll web GUI, or you are using suppose say S4 HANA, then in S4 HANA also you have to configure those basic PA configuration at least, that event region you have to configure as an action reason in your S4 HANA. Okay, so that is the way actually now from a consultant point of view, the activities are more, rather it is not simplified our life, but from at least from an admin point of view, there is less activities compare for the payroll administrator and all. But for a consultant, you have to depending upon your setup. Okay, so all this configuration to be done. Okay, so any questions before we go for the system demo?
Nothing.
Okay, okay. So in today's lab session, as I was mentioning, this is all for the clinical session. And in the lab session, I will just take you through the simple one. First one, a simple one I will show today. Okay. And then remaining part we'll be seeing the upcoming session and we'll start. So payroll unified configuration. So you have asked the right question. So that demo I have already planned. Okay. So that demo I'm just going to show you in the system. Just let me log in. So Bala, you have access to your EC payroll, right? At present. That's it.
Uh, I don't have EC payroll things.
Okay. So you know, I was just telling because you know already you have already worked in a simple little bit of EC payroll. So for that reason, I was asking, do you have an access to EC payroll system at present?
You see, project got over, right? So that all
Okay,
access has got
got
expired.
okay, got it. Okay, so you do not have access to the sandbox as well.
Yeah. In
Okay.
Sandbox, there is
That's
a option to enable the payroll.
no. The thing is, no, I means the client sandbox means the preview system preview.
Okay.
Preview system you do not have access at present.
No, I don't have. That's what
Oh, yeah.
I'm
I think they might
looking.
have restricted. They might have restricted. Okay, anyway, that is not going to harm because in the whenever I was doing my EC payroll implementation 2 years back, even at that point of even I was whenever I was doing the certification, I never had an access to this real-time system. I studied and I was just imagining how it would be looking like and all. And the simulations,
Mm.
whichever they are in the certification hub, there are a couple of simulations. If you practice those, then that is more than enough to qualify for certification and all. But in the real-time implementation, so I'll be guiding you what are the challenges we generally face and what are the sequence, because there are a lot of documentations. People get generally confused. I have seen those documentations are very heavy and where to start, how to start. There many people get confused there. So I'll be guiding you in that way. So having said that, let me go to the unified, whatever I was talking about, the payroll unified configuration. That is one of the key configuration what we do generally. There are some prerequisites as well that we'll be seeing in the next session. Okay, but for today's session, we'll be seeing the payroll unified configurations. So as soon as you start typing payroll unif, you'll be getting this node called payroll unified configuration. So this is the node exactly where exactly you can activate for how many countries you are going to implement. Suppose as I was giving an example. So the number of countries here in the left hand side, you'll be seeing countries or regions. And in the right hand side, accordingly, whatever the countries you have chosen, accordingly in the right hand side, you'll be getting those system configurations, how it has been done. Okay, so as you have already worked on Indian payroll, let me give an example of Indian payroll only. Okay, so depending upon your number of countries required, you just make them active here. Okay, if it is not required, then you just deactivate. By default, it will be deactivated. Okay, so only activated what is relevant for you for your payroll. Okay, so suppose I'm choosing the India. Okay, suppose I've chosen India. How to choose an active or inactive? There is something called status. Okay, if I've chosen Indian payroll, in the right hand side you'll be seeing three options: system configuration, portlet, and your payroll task. Okay, so in the system configurations, there is in the status, there is something called active and inactive. Okay, once you have chosen active and save it, okay, so that particular country will be activated for you. Okay, so in this way you can activate the things, the number of countries you are going to implement. Hmm? So when I say system configurations, so this is the system. Suppose I'm whatever the on-premise system, it can be 100 client, 200 client, or 300 or 800 client, depending upon your whatever the client is available in your system. Okay, so just you have to choose that particular SAP system. As soon as you choose the system, automatically system will be giving this auto field. There are the two uh, payroll system URL and payroll system client ID will be auto filled. Okay, so payroll system URL, what is the payroll system URL? It is nothing but your EC payroll web add your URL. Okay, so this is a standard URL structure you'll be seeing. Okay, saying HTTPS. You asking any question, Bala? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a doubt. How do we get the payroll system URL? What do you call PM sales demo or like this? That URL we have to configure, right?
Exactly. So whenever you are implementing Bala, SAP will be providing you three URL. Okay. One is your development, one is your for quality, one is for your production. Okay. So these three URLs you'll be getting. But having said that, so you do not have to utilize all the URLs. Suppose you are, because in SuccessFactors we generally do not recommend to use three instance. Rather, we everything we configure in the preview system, which is the quality system, and then we directly configure in the production system, or we synchronize those configuration. In this way, you can utilize those URL which are provided by SAP. Okay, this once your license is purchased from SAP, automatically you have to register a ticket to get this URL. Okay, SAP will be providing to you this URL, and the URL structure. If you see this URL structure, it will always very follow a structure. It will be starting with my, then there is a client ID. So this 6-digit number, it will be a number specific to your client and your instance, say whether it is a development or it is a quality or it is a production. Depending upon that, this number will vary. Okay, so this is a structure, and the remaining part like a dot payroll dot on demand.com, okay, it will remain the same. So this is a standard structure of a typical EC payroll your URL. Okay, this will be provided by SAP, and while configure certain another set of configuration that we'll be seeing in the upcoming lab. Okay, upcoming lab session we'll be seeing all those configuration. Once you assign which URL will belong to which SAP system, then you can monitor like this system will which belong to which one. Okay, now automatically whenever you're doing this system configuration, automatically you'll be getting those URL and those respective payroll system client ID. It can be 800, it can be 600, depending upon your client ID. Okay. So once it is done, then you have to just save it, and status will be always active. And last one, that is enable the enhanced validation production, it should be always selected as a yes. Okay. So that means whenever you are checking the production payroll, automatically this will be an enhanced, means you have to always enable here. Okay. So that is the thing here. So this is regarding the
Okay.
system configuration. Any questions here?
Yeah. The SAP system configuration, payroll system URL, payroll system client ID given by SAP. Already this is configured by SAP.
Yes. So generally, so SAP will be giving this thing. Okay, like they will be providing the URL. There is another configuration which I'll be showing you later on. Okay, in the upcoming sessions. So where exactly you can configure it, like how to align this URL. 410 means this will be this URL. Okay. There is another system of configuration that I will be seeing to in our next upcoming session. Once you
Okay.
have chosen this X0B410, automatically system will take the URL which you have assigned, to this X0P410. Okay. So accordingly, your payroll system URL and payroll system client ID. So this is just for your understanding. This is because this is a very unique one, payroll unified configuration. Okay. So for that reason, as you have also asked, like how many countries. Suppose if you like to activate for another country, so how to activate that you do. This is a one-time activity, so do not have to change it very frequently in a typical implementations. Okay. So this is how a typical system configuration we have to do in the your payroll unified configuration. Okay. Any question here other than this?
Yeah, nothing.
Okay, okay. The second part is very easy one. Portlet is nothing but your the normal your different info types or different services which are there in your payroll. Okay. So under Portlet we'll be seeing a lot of things like your earnings and deduction. Earning and deduction we'll be seeing for India. For every country we have a pay statement that is universal, or your all of your pay slip will be there in the pay statement. Similarly, external transfer. Okay. So when I'm choosing say pay statement, suppose if I go to each and every item here, okay, so you can see there are three options. The pay statement, whatever you have seen here, okay, whatever you're typing here, it will be seen here. Okay, suppose I'm typing something else. Let's say instead of pay statement, I'm calling it my salary slip. I'm saying it's salary slip. I saved it. Then it will show as a salary slip here, and accordingly it will show to the employee as well. Okay. Suppose I choosing something else, then it will come. So pay statement. Let me keep it. This is the purpose of your this link name. Whatever name you are giving, that name will be appearing in the main page. Okay. And there are three types of link. Okay. So whenever I am saying say pay statement, or for Indian payroll, there are form 16. Okay. So you can see form 16 as well. So these are called a service. Okay. So pay statement, your form 16, these are actually called service. Okay. Because these are different WebDim application, or there are different applications for those in the SAP itself. So other than that, you can have info type. Suppose I'm going to a info type. I'll just show you those 580 series you must be aware of, as you have already worked on Indian payroll. So I do not have to explain. So suppose say I'm going to housing HRA CLA COA. Okay. Automatically system will say this is in the backend, this connected to the 581 info type. Okay. So the link type will be always an info type. Whenever you're choosing an info type section or link name, say housing HRA, CLA or COA. Okay. And why it is an admin service? Can you just guess it, Bala? Why we are not saying it is self-service?
Automatically, so system automatically integrated with the country specific info types like 0581 to 0590. These are the taxable info types for India.
Exactly. So thanks for answering that. So why we have not chosen self-service is because there's another answer. I'll just another aspect. I'll just add an answer, my answer to your whatever you have suggested. Okay. Suppose generally these info types are maintained by admin. Okay. Suppose in your organization you are allowing employee to as well to maintain this info type 581 automatically from the employee central. Okay. Then you could have chosen the self-service. Okay. Suppose if you are only giving access to the admin and admin only updating this info type 581 to 590, then it will be always an admin service. Okay. So in this way you can think of any types of info types, whether it can be admin service or it can be self service or it can be both. Okay. That you can decide depending upon your organization policies. Okay. But all the options are available here. Okay.
I think it seems RBP, right? If you give self service, it will automatically visible in the my people profile. The exemption part.
Yes. So once you're choosing self-service, automatically it will check whatever the self-service options in the RBP you are setting up. Automatically you'll be getting your payslip, your form 16 for India.
But in real time we have give self-service also, right? Admin service as well as self-services.
Which generally, but again depends upon your client, because if the client wants, no, I do not want to give this HRA CLA to be updated by my employee. Only I will keep it with me. After employee submits those details, I'll be depending upon your organization or depending upon your client.
You are saying, my understanding is this is a exemption part, not updating part, right?
Which one?
After entering the HRA, after entering the rent value, system automatically calculates the HRA exemption. Where that exemption will appear in the people profile. I thought like this only.
Yes, you're correct. That way, you can check it. Okay, so whenever you're choosing admin service or self-service, you can choose both. Okay, but again, it is a sales demo. For that reason, it is not properly configured. Okay, so you'll be seeing all this.
Okay.
Okay, so for everything, say 582 exemptions. Okay, exemption under that it is also showing as an admin service. Okay, so whenever you are getting access, okay, so you'll be getting the access. You can check whether it is an admin service and self-service, but by default in the system it will be always in your admin service. Okay, you can change it. Okay, after changing it, you can modify it whatever you are up to depending upon your requirement. Same goes with your reimbursement also. Reimbursement your 519 for type. Okay, so all these things you can modify depending upon your requirement, whatever you are having. Okay, similarly, suppose there is a custom info type you have created. Okay, suppose if you like to call that custom info type, still you can just put a link name and you maintain that custom info type number. Okay, then you mention it is an admin service or self service, then you just save it, then automatically your that custom info type also you will be appearing in your EC screen. Okay, so in this way you can whatever the changes are required. Okay, anything additional URL if you like to, there is an option of URL as well. Okay, so we can put some additional this is for any kind of third party integration you are using, and if you want the persons to any SharePoint application or any other application you are using, and if you want to employee to give that access to that particular suppose say any payroll related any survey or any kind of thing. Okay, that is you can give this URL and you can just assign it to a self service or admin service, and accordingly those employee will be receiving those stuff. It is very interesting to understand this concept, but most of it is in the standard. Okay, so it is suggested not to delete anything, rather if you can add something which is relevant for you, you can add on the top of it. This is regarding all of your portlet. Okay, so this is the way the portlets are configured and all. In same section also you can navigate through like compensation. It will come to this in compensation related income from other sources. That is your input type 584. Okay, so there are different categories of these things. Like in the statement section you'll be seeing form 16. Okay, so similarly there are different categories of these things like additional employee benefits and all. Loan is nothing but your input type 45. You can see it here directly. Okay, so in this way, this unified configurations, payroll unified configuration works. Okay, so these are different things which you'd like to highlight. So any questions before you wind up, Bala?
Nothing.
Okay, so just we'll be checking with Aditya e-learning so that then we can proceed, and just mention the same thing to your friend, and he will be getting this recorded session as well. So if any question, otherwise this session is already there in my in Aditya e-learning team, so that YouTube channel also will be finding this. Whatever this is for just for a demo session, and in the upcoming session, what I will going to deep dive, like I have prepared a chart like this. So there are 27 topics covering all the three sections. Okay, so I have highlighted one. Those highlighted one will be your certification point of view. These are the most important one. Okay, these are the highlighted one. Other than that, this is the sequence I'll be following. Okay, on the top of whatever the integration, whatever the following this topics. Okay, so this is the topic sequence I will follow. Okay, other than that, then we'll be starting with the remaining other topics. Okay, the offering model, the certification pathway, what are the different frequently asked questions in EC payroll and all. So all the details we'll be going through. So another 1 hour, it will be a conceptual session. Then we'll be moving a deep dive into the practical session of it, like what are the
Okay.
different configuration. Because admin part is easy, as I was mentioning, how to do these things, how to run a payroll, how to troubleshoot a payroll, how to assign an alert, what is the policies, what is the process. So those things are will be covering in the part A, that is your EC payroll admin side. Okay, so once it is done till topic number 3, it will be a part A. Some topic number 04 onwards, it will be a part B, and that is your all the technical. So part B is more technical in nature. Okay, so it will be last up to till your topic number 22. Okay, so till that point, and your PCC, actually if you see the official implementation guide, PCC is covered under your HRS 60 only. Technically in the same implementation guide it is there, But when it comes to certification, it's a different topic. Question will be coming from that area. So PCC point of view, it will be more practical focused. So for that reason, we'll be performing all the exercises, whatever the exercises are there in this HRS 65 workbook or the implementation handbook. Okay, so that we'll be seeing into detail. Other than that, towards the end, I'll be showing you this document, whatever the documents are there. And actually, I have combined all those documents with my notes. You'll be getting this entire document, like it's approximately 3,400 plus pages, and I'll keep on adding the subsequent any new things coming up and all. Okay, so that you do not have to refer multiple documents, and this is a single source of document to refer all kind of your queries and implementation point of view as well. So that is for all today. So anything else? Otherwise, we can wind up.
Nah, nothing.
Okay. So
Thank you.
thanks for
Thank
your
you for
time. Thanks for your time, Bala.
for spending the time to give beautiful demo. Let me think about and come back.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Bala. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye. You too.